show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Amp2.tv presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Hello, everybody. I am your host, Louise Gomez. Welcome back to another episode of You and Your Doctor, sponsored by All County Healthcare. We are a certified home healthcare agency servicing Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County. We are a certified home healthcare agency servicing, like I said, Palm Beach County, Broward, Miami-Dade, and you can reach us at 954-717-7027. And today we have the pleasure of introducing Dr. Naima Stennett. She is with Hibiscus Lifestyle Medicine, and you can connect with her at hibiscuslifestyle@gmail.com. And Dr. Stennett is a primary care specialist, and she also does sports medicine, lifestyle medicine, and also fertility we'll be speaking about as well. So welcome to the show, Dr. Stennett. We're happy to have you.
Hi, good evening, and thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. We are delighted to have you so that we can learn a little bit more about what you do. And from what I see, there's a broad range of patients that you'll be able to see because you're so diversified, and I love that. So let's speak into a little bit more about your experience, your education and training, and where you went to school, a little bit more about your background, if you can share with us.
Absolutely. From the deep south, I call it, Jamaica,
Oh,
and
I love
I
it.
made my way over to the United States by getting awarded a volleyball scholarship. And so I was a student athlete, more athlete student. And
Uh-huh.
pursued my education in medicine, of course. I went to North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina for my undergraduate and master's, then went on to do medical school at East Carolina University. And, um, and then after did my family medicine residency at University of Miami. So
Oh,
I'm very
nice.
familiar with Florida. And then I
Mhm.
went back up to North Carolina to do a fellowship in sports medicine. And then I made my way back down to Florida because I missed that warm weather. And
Good.
so after that, while here in Tampa working at University of South Florida Health, I got introduced to lifestyle medicine, and I recently did some bodybuilding myself. And with bodybuilding, if you don't know, it emphasizes a lot with sleep, nutrition, and exercise, which is three of the six pillars of lifestyle medicine. And so for me, bodybuilding helped me to pursue a goal I had, but it also helped me to inform my patients a little bit more about things that they can do to improve their health in the long run.
So that makes perfect sense. You were an athlete, and so that was one of the I would imagine, doing sports medicine, it's all interrelated, and now you're a bodybuilder, so congratulations to you on that. And I can see now how it all encompasses with the whole, everything sports medicine and lifestyle medicine. It's really all interrelated. And you, as a bodybuilder, I would imagine that the type of people that you come and see are either professional athletes or athletes that are wanting to take it to the next level of their journey, of their career. Is that right?
Yes, so I have the pleasure of working with USF Athletics and also the University of Tampa Women's Soccer. And so I do see a lot of young athletes. And for me, it not only keeps me young, I feel like,
Yes.
but it also allows me to start from where they're more impressionable in a sense, and I constantly have to remind them that you're as good as your recovery and the importance of fueling their body because they're performing at such high level. And
Mm.
not only do I see USF athletes, but I see what I call the weekend warriors, right?
Oh yeah.
The older population or wiser population, I would say, that may do half marathons or they may, do small 5Ks or different
Mm.
sports and activities. They may enjoy golfing, cycling. Tampa is a pretty physically active place, so
Mm-hmm.
definitely deal with athletes both at the collegiate level, club level, and professional level. But then also your weekend warriors or people who want to
Mm.
get back in the gym and be active. And so
Yeah.
I do see a breadth of because we're all athletes ultimately.
I like that. Yes, we are. What is there a common thing that you see when athletes come in? Is there something common that you see that maybe you can help us as maybe weekend warriors that were maybe something that we could do better or different? Or is there any common thread of something happening where maybe we should know about to improve?
Sure. So again, I think we're all athletes in our own way. And I think two things that I oftentimes have to remind my patients, both the young and the wiser one, is in order for your body to do what it needs to do, you have to fuel it. And so it's so important that we understand the importance of nutrition as it relates to being physically active and the importance of recovery. And
Mm-hmm.
recovery involves sleep, hydration, restorative practices such as yoga,
Mm-hmm.
meditation, and stretching. And
Mm-hmm.
I forgot where I got the quote from, but somebody once said, "You are as good as your recovery,"
Oh,
right?
I like
So we
that.
need to fuel the body to make sure it can do what it needs to do, but we also have to find time to allow the body to recover so it can
Mm-hmm.
continue to do what you want it to do.
Is there any specific type of nutritional advice that you would suggest, or what would you suggest for people listening?
Sure. So we can start with the basic.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of conversations about what is the best fluid to drink, right? And when it
Yes.
comes to hydration, unless you are doing an hour of strenuous activity where you're sweating,
Right.
water is your best source of hydration. And
Mm-hmm.
for some folks, water is boring, right?
Yeah.
So I would add a little crystallite in there. There's some IV. There's a brand called IV, I believe. I
Mm-hmm.
get mine at Sam's Club. So we can add that. But water is our biggest source of hydration. The Gatorade and those sugary sports drinks, in my opinion, those are for
Yeah.
intense physical activity. So we're
Yeah.
talking maybe half marathons, very prolonged workouts with that involves a lot of sweating,
Yep.
especially in Florida with the temperature.
Sure.
You're sweating a lot, especially if it's outdoor. But outside of that, if you know you are not doing greater than an hour and you're not going to be sweating a whole lot, I would just stick with water. I
Mm-hmm.
do see young kids with the Gatorade and they're just drinking it like as a
Yeah.
part of their snack package. I feel like, we really could switch that out with water. So that's
Yes.
number one. Number two, carbs. We hear a lot of things, people think it's good, people think it's bad. Your body needs carbs. And
Right.
so it's important that when you engage in a very strenuous activity, that you do have some carbohydrates. And that
Mm-hmm.
can be in the form of a fruit. It could be form of a protein, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. There's very healthy alternatives when it comes to peanut butter or the bread that you're using. And so it's super important, again, to give your body that energy to perform the job that you want it to perform.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, when we think about fuel, it's not only carbohydrates, but it's also fats as well as protein.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say that protein is actually the organ of youth. So the more lean muscle mass you have, is the longer you live. You'll decrease your percentage body fat. It will allow you to burn more calories. And so I'm happy that society is moving away from the idea of being thin to more the idea of being strong.
Yes. Good paradigm shift, right?
Hmm.
Mm. And so, what are some good healthy fats that because people hear the word fat sometimes and it could be, back in the day, it was like, oh my God, you couldn't even, everything was no fat or, but now I believe people are now more aware that we do get to intake healthy fats. We do get to have foods that have healthy fats. What are some maybe that you would suggest to your athletes?
Sure. So avocado,
Yeah.
nuts, so almonds, certain nuts have high quantity of fats in it. For those who are cheese lovers, there's vegan cheese options if you don't want if you don't do a dairy. I would say Greek yogurt, good
Right.
source of fat sometimes. The omegas, the olive oils, those are great sources of fats. Ultimately, we want to move away from things that are super processed,
Right.
and so unfortunately, that comes in the form of like fast food or
Sure.
foods with, multiple ingredients on the bag. If we could just limit most of our ingredients to 1 to 3, that would be
Mm,
great.
mm-hmm. Makes
And who
sense.
doesn't love a good avocado toast?
Oh, seriously, that is true. I know I do for sure. Um, so, Dr. Sennett, it's so amazing because I know that you're also doing obviously the lifestyle training, but you're also delving into fertility. I know you wanted to speak up into that. What made you interested in that? And if you could speak a little bit more about what your findings are and what your suggestions may be.
Sure. So I think fertility is shifting from being such a taboo topic and being in my mid 30s and my friends are around the same age as me. I turned 35 recently, and
You look
whether you
25,
are
but go ahead. You look 25, but go ahead.
I'll take it. I'll
uh,
take it. So I will say that, whether you're thinking about getting pregnant now or it's something in the future, it is a topic that fertility is a topic that affects not only us emotionally, but mentally, physically, economically. And
sure.
so I think I've seen also a paradigm shift where there's more conversations about women getting pregnant later on in life and
Yeah.
what treatments are available. And it kind of comes back, in my opinion, to a little bit of lifestyle medicine because oftentimes our inability to get pregnant can be linked to the things that are happening within our lives that we can control. Now, there's
Mm-hmm.
factors that we can't control, right?
Sure.
So we all hear the term biological clock.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the highest rate of infertility occurs in the age group of 35 to 39 among women, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the lowest amongst women in the age group of 20 to 25.
Okay.
However, it should be noted that infertility is not a primary disease of women because men can also experience infertility. So, statistically speaking, if we go to the World Health Organizations, about 35 plus of women experience infertility, 25 to 35% of men,
Wow.
and as a couple it's about 30%. So if you think about it, it's like 30, 30, 30, right?
Right. Wow.
And
Yeah.
so I think it's super important that we have these conversations in our late 20s and before we get to that point where it is feeling rushed or you feel
Mm-hmm.
overwhelmed
Yes.
because you're not able to get pregnant.
Yeah. So, what would you suggest to people when they're just starting to think maybe they're deciding, well, we think we're going to have a baby? What are some basic steps that maybe you can suggest to a couple that's looking to go down that path? What would be a basic steps?
Sure, and I would like to highlight that in addition to couples, we have women who are doing single mom by choice, and
Yes,
even men who are doing fatherhood by by choice,
I
single
like that.
fatherhood by choice. Of course, this percentage is very low
Okay,
compared to
sure.
women who are doing single women by choice, but just as individuals, we want to make sure that we are at our healthiest.
Mm,
And that can simply mean doing that annual exam, making sure that there are risk factors that you're aware of, i.e., obesity, maybe
mm-hmm.
some unhealthy lifestyle practices such as smoking, alcohol
Sure.
consumption. So you want to make sure that you're at your best health. Number
Mm-hmm.
two, you want to make sure your labs, so those lab values such as your A1C that screens for glucose intolerance, which ultimately leads to diabetes, your
Right.
lipid levels slash cholesterol. You want to make sure your labs are within normal range. You want to make sure that you have a conversation on what a good, healthy nutrition type of diet looks like. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Also, if you've never been an athlete or nobody ever really talked to you about exercise, understanding what some of the recommendations are,
Right.
especially for women, understanding that there are controllable and non-controllable factors that can affect their ability to get pregnant, and some
Mm-hmm.
of those things are preventable, such as obesity, for example.
Sure. Sure. What would you? Oh, we have a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you some more questions about this. I'm enjoying this conversation. We'll be right back, Dr. Stennett.
All County Healthcare has exciting news for any and all patients with COPD or other respiratory ailments. Listen to what renowned pulmonologist Dr. Keith Robinson has to say.
Hello, I'm Dr. Keith Robinson, board-certified pulmonologist, medical director at Fusion Health Pulmonary Rehabilitation, and a board member with the American Lung Association of South Florida. We have exciting news for patients with COPD. We now offer IPV therapy at home, which has been demonstrated to improve airway clearance, decrease hospitalization, and improve quality of life of patients with COPD. Please call All County Healthcare for more information about this FDA-approved therapy.
For further information, call All County Healthcare now at 954-717-7027. That is 954-717-7027, or visit our website at allcountyhealthcare.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Remember, All County Healthcare always puts the patient's needs first. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask, but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to You and Your Doctor. We are having a great conversation with Dr. Naima Stennett. You can reach her at hibiscuslifestyle@gmail.com. And Dr. Stennett, we were discussing fertility, and I was going to ask you a question. At what point does a couple or a person, let's say, looking to get pregnant, at what point would they say, you know what, I think I need to see a fertility doctor? When does that,
Excellent.
when does that
Excellent
happen?
question. So, for women who are below the age of 35, I
Yeah,
would say that after 1 year of consistent,
okay,
unprotected,
right,
appropriately timed sex, if
right.
they have not gotten pregnant, then I would reach out to their primary care doctor who can start the process, and then who most likely will be referred to a fertility special. And
Mm-hmm.
for women who are greater than the age of 35, it's usually that 6 month mark, and even lower when you're over the age of 40.
Oh,
So I
wow.
wanted to
Yeah,
point out that even though fertility can occur at any age, as long as you haven't reached menopause,
right.
and menopause is defined as the day you are 1 year from having a period,
Mm-hmm.
you can get pregnant. So there's a tagline that says, if you can bleed, you can breed. So if you're having a period,
Oh, yeah,
you can potentially get pregnant. However, as I mentioned earlier, infertility is not a primary woman's problem. It could be males that could be having issues too. And so, same goes for them. It is
right,
super important that after 6 months to a year of trying, all things considered, there's no other medical conditions,
right.
that they reach out to their primary care doctor who can then potentially refer them to a fertility specialist.
And so when they see a fertility specialist, is genetic testing a part of the process with maybe high risk people? Is that come into play?
Sure. So it's going to be multifactorial. So when it comes to fertility, it is not black and white. And
Okay.
so there's multiple factors to consider, including your age, your family history, lifestyle, things that you're doing, i.e., smoking, alcohol intake, caffeine intake, the medications that you might be on. Medical history is super important. For the women, PCOS. For the men, any history of testicular trauma. There's sperm analysis, for example, on the men's side that can be done.
Mm-hmm.
There is egg reserve on the women's side that can be done. And so it's not black and white, it's
Mm-hmm.
multiple things that can be done. We want to rule out secondary causes why women may not be able to get pregnant. When it comes to menopause, on average, women go through menopause in their 50s, but we have women who go through what we call premature ovarian failure in their 30s,
Really?
but
Oh,
usually between the age of 45 to 55 is oftentimes when most women will experience menopause. And so, as you can tell, it is going to be very patient specific as it
sure.
relates to infertility.
Yeah, that's interesting. And what I really like is that you can see so many different patients, so that there could be multiple things going on, and you'll be able to treat them with for the fertility, for the sports medicine, for the lifestyle medicine. So I imagine going to see you would be an amazing experience, because you're able to target so many different domains of people's life and their lifestyle.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's the beauty of family medicine. We really do take care from cradle to grave, I would say. And
Mm-hmm.
if you think about all the different things that impact us, we don't work in a vacuum. We work with other specialists.
Mm-hmm.
Hence why fertility specialists are super important. So that's more like the OBGYN or the urology that we can then refer out if we need further testing and further expertise and guidance. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, I love it because again, I see people. We're like the gatekeepers, right? So you come and see us first, and then we can shuffle you on. But ultimately, we are our own quarterbacks. Okay, we have to be the quarterbacks of our lives. And so, as much as I have a breadth of knowledge that I can provide to patients, it's so important that patients do get informed. And there are certain websites that are reputable,
Yeah.
i.e., Mayo Clinic,
Oh, nice.
CDC,
Mm-hmm.
World Health Organizations.
Okay.
Most medical centers, such as USF Health, will have information for patients. Um, and so it's important that patients have their questions beforehand, so therefore the visit can be very productive in a sense, because if you come on a visit where, for
Right.
example, as a woman you're doing a pap smear, that will consume most of the visit and your questions may not be answered.
Sure.
But if you schedule a visit to talk about fertility, to talk about lifestyle medicine, then it's geared towards that particular topic.
Exactly. Dr. Sennett, we're almost ready to wrap up. We have 3 minutes left, and it's been so delightful learning all of your expertise and all the people that you get to see. Are there any takeaways or maybe any stories that you want to share with us, or anything over the next 3 minutes? Please feel free to share.
Absolutely. So, my message to everyone is that we are worth living our best life. And in order to achieve that, we have to be the quarterback of our own lives. And it means that we call the shots and we make those goals. And there's about 45 days, 41 days left in 2024.
Wow.
And so we don't have to wait to January 1st for that New Year resolution.
Right.
We can start making those changes today. And it is important that when we have a goal in mind, that we start by writing it down, because when you write it down, we make that goal come alive. And we have
Absolutely.
something in medicine called SMART goals, and that's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So when we make a
Like
decision
that.
to make a change or achieve a goal, we want to be smart about it. And that simply means we write it down, we create a plan, and we execute that plan. And so, again, I don't want people to wait to the new year, whether they're
Sure.
trying to get pregnant, whether they're trying to change their life. We want to make those changes today. They say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago.
That's
The next
right.
best time is right now.
Absolutely. I'm going to give out your contact information again, Dr. Stennett. You can please connect with her at hibiscuslifestyle@gmail.com. and she'll
So
be
it's going to
able.
be lifestyle medicine, hibiscus lifestyle medicine at gmail.com.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Hibiscus Lifestyle Medicine at gmail.com. So, anybody listening, if you have any questions, you want to connect with Dr. Stennett, please connect with her. She'll be able to answer any questions and book an appointment with you. Thank you so much, Dr. Stennett. It's been a delight, and we will see you soon.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking with you guys.
Absolutely. Take care. Happy holidays to you.
You too.